YouTube and the entire internet are completely swamped with AI tools promising the same two-click, zero-effort path to instant viral success. We have all seen the headlines promising million subscriber channels overnight, but I need to give you a serious reality check on that front. The platforms have been tightening their grip on mass-produced, low-quality, and inauthentic content throughout this last year. We have seen countless channels get penalized or entirely booted from partner programs simply for relying on spammy, spun content. If your only strategy is to slap together automated, soulless content, you are playing a very risky game that will eventually backfire. The better approach is to focus on creating actual, high-value content, or at least using tools that help you produce real work much faster. That is exactly where smart editing tools come into play, but you have to be extremely selective about the ones you bring into your workflow. So, can AI actually make your life easier when producing video content without turning you into a digital factory? The trick is using artificial intelligence to speed up the creative heavy lifting you are already doing, rather than trying to replace your unique voice. You want tools that help with finding the best moments, polishing audio, adding dynamic captions, and inserting relevant B-roll quickly. I have been leaning into Vizard recently, and it has honestly completely changed how I repurpose my long-form videos into bite-sized content. After testing it across dozens of episodes, I have found that it consistently nails the two things that matter most for growth. It identifies the specific moments with actual viral potential, and it gets them ready to post without making your videos feel like clones. Let me walk you through my exact step-by-step process for turning a raw phone recording or a long podcast episode into a shareable short. I usually film on my phone because it feels authentic and accessible, which is exactly the vibe audiences are looking for right now. If you are using an iPhone, you can just airdrop the file, or if you are on Android, you can upload the video directly to your computer. I typically drop a 2-minute raw clip into the software, and it starts processing everything from transcription to energy analysis within seconds. What I really love about this specific interface is the text-based editor, which feels like you are simply editing a document. Instead of scrubbing through a waveform endlessly, you just read the transcript and click to make your cuts and edits. If you want to cut out a clumsy flub, you just highlight the sentence and hit delete, which literally shaves hours off your editing time. There is even a pause and filler removal feature that intelligently detects long silences and all those ums and ahs that ruin flow. You can choose how aggressive you want the tool to be, letting it tighten the pacing for that fast-paced, modern short-form consumption. Because it applies smart transitions, you don't end up with those awkward, jarring audio jumps that usually happen when you remove gaps. Let's talk about audio, because high-quality sound is arguably more important than video quality for short-form clips. Vizard's audio enhancement tools are shockingly effective, letting you dial in a magic audio setting that cleans up your voice perfectly. If you crank it too high, you might sound a bit robotic, but if you keep it subtle, it just adds incredible clarity and presence. The point is that you definitely do not need an expensive studio microphone to get crisp, professional-sounding clips for your audience. Another massive time saver is the instant captioning feature, which auto-generates accurate text and lets you style it to match your aesthetic. Since a huge portion of viewers watch on mute, having readable, engaging captions with the right phrasing is basically non-negotiable. When it comes to B-roll and simple graphics, the tool lets you search through built-in assets or just drag and drop your own files. I personally love using subtle motion or a clear, clicky subscribe animation to really emphasize my call to action at the right moment. Instead of hunting through giant stock libraries for something that vaguely fits, you just click a word in the transcript. The software then suggests relevant visual inserts that match the context of that specific moment in your video. It is not always going to be 100% perfect, but it is fast and gets you 80% of the way there without killing your creative momentum. Here is where this tool really pulls ahead of others: the auto-editing feature designed specifically for viral short clips. If you upload a long-form podcast or an interview, it scans the whole thing and proposes several standalone clips it thinks will perform. It acts like having a junior editor who deeply understands platform formats and knows exactly what tends to get traction with viewers. I don't always use every single suggestion, but it frequently surfaces brilliant ideas I would have otherwise missed entirely. Compared to tools that are just single-feature apps, This gives you a cohesive end-to-end flow from long-form raw footage to a scheduled short. Many other services lean way too hard into synthetic content, which risks you landing in the inauthentic bucket with the algorithms. Vizard helps you stay authentic because it works with your own actual recordings and helps you polish them rather than replacing your voice. One of the absolute nicest workflow boosts is the built-in content calendar and the auto-schedule feature for your posts. After I create a batch of shorts, I can queue them up and tell the system exactly how often I want to post across my platforms. That completely removes the headache of manual uploading and frees up your time to focus on creating new original content. If you are trying to be consistent, and let's face it, that is the real secret to growth, this feature alone is worth experimenting with. And when you need brand consistency, the Brand Kit feature lets you lock in your colors, logos, and fonts for all your videos. Apply that Brand Kit to an entire set of clips with just one click, and your channel suddenly looks professional and cohesive. That is incredibly useful if you are repurposing content from multiple episodes and want your channel to feel unified. Let me walk you through a quick example. I recently uploaded a full hour-long episode and was blown away by the results. Within minutes, I had 3 perfect clip suggestions that felt like real, punchy shorts with great hooks. I cleaned up one line where I had simply misspoken, and used a short dubbing fix to replace that phrase with my own voice. It blended perfectly, and that tiny fix is absolute gold because it saved me from having to re-record the entire take. Now, I am not saying Vizard is some magic solution or that it replaces the need for actual editing skill and taste. It doesn't read your audience for you, and it certainly won't magically turn bad, uninteresting content into something people want to watch. But it speeds up all those tedious parts of the process. The cutting, captioning, polishing, and scheduling. Compared to competitors that force you into repetitive templates, this gives you the right balance of automation and human control. It does the heavy lifting, but it keeps you firmly in the driver's seat when it comes to the final creative decisions. One last thing, if privacy or ownership is important to you, always keep a close eye on any tool's terms of service. Don't ever hand over rights to your work that you need to keep, so just make sure you understand what you are agreeing to. If you are using your own recordings and letting AI help you edit, you are staying well within safe, authentic creator behavior. So, is Vizard the only tool worth trying? Definitely not, because there are great things happening in many other editors right now. Some platforms have better motion graphics, while others have specialized integrations that might fit a different kind of workflow. But for creators who record long-form, want quick polished shorts, and care about consistency, this really does the heavy lifting. If you are trying to scale your repurposing game without becoming a factory of soulless clips, give it a serious spin. Start with just one episode. Upload it, let it auto-suggest those clips, and pick the 3 best ones to tweak. Schedule them to post over the next week and just watch to see what kind of traction and feedback you get. And if you want, drop a comment below and I will happily share more specific settings I use for audio levels and caption sizing. Growth is not about magic shortcuts. It is about smart, consistent work. So use the right tools to make that work easier. Alright, I am off to batch edit another episode, but if you want a behind-the-scenes look at my workflow, let me know. Just ask in the comments and I will happily walk through exactly how I turn 1 hour of content into 10 shorts in an afternoon. I will see you in the next one.